Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Mrs. Aneela Yasmeen. Today we will talk about Précis writing. B.Sc class, this is question number 6 in your paper, that you have to give a Précis and you have to answer the questions for a passage of comprehension. So first of all, I would give you the definition and importance of Précis. So the Précis is therefore a concise or abridged form of a given passage, and briefly expressing its precise meaning. And a summary may consist of discounted facts, but a Précis should be connected and well-knit piece of composition, possessing all the qualities of an independent original composition. So you can say that a Précis is a summary of any piece of printed, written or spoken matter containing all the essential point of the given piece and possessing nearly all the qualities of a piece of original composition. So your Précis should be systematic, and there should be a connection between sentences, and there should be a smoothness and elegance of style in your Précis writing. So in writing a Précis or doing a comprehension paragraph, we have to follow some rules, and I will tell you how to make a Précis. So first of all, there is the first rule is this, that read the passage very carefully, and once, twice, or as many times as you feel it is necessary to comprehend carefully, and then determine the main idea of the passage, because after reading 2 or 3 times you would be able to determine the main idea of the passage. Then you have the idea in your mind. Having the idea in your mind, the comprehension of the sense of the passage depends on the mental equipment and also on the style of the passage. So the easier the paragraph, the less labor required to understand it. But if the passage is difficult or complicated, it will have to be read many times and with great concentration. So Précis, you can say that Précis writing is a good test of your capacity to read intelligently and get the pith of whatever you read, and this is what your examiner, who sets a question on the Précis writing, wants to know. So my dear students, the most important thing in the comprehension paragraph, that you must comprehend the main idea. For this purpose, you would read the given passage at least 2 or 3 times. And then comes the second point. The second point is about the suitable title, that when you read a paragraph, reading a paragraph, you must have a suitable title in your mind. So supply the title, even if the examiner does not ask for it. The title must be concise and pithy. So you have to give a very suitable title. It is very necessary whether the examiner asks you or not. Then comes the third point, that find subheadings, that you have to read the passage again and again, and you will write down the important points on a page. If the original passage consists of paragraphs, find a title for each paragraph, and these titles may serve as subheadings to your main title. So it would be easier for you that if you are reading a paragraph again and again, and you are writing, collecting some important points on a page, and having in your mind the subheadings, then it would be easier for you to compile a Précis or a Précis paragraph. Then comes the fourth point, that read the original again. The reading will give you a correct impression of the relative importance of the ideas in original. So if it does not, the skeleton plan must be corrected, that you must read it 2 or 3 times, twice or thrice. So if the writer of the passage emphasizes a certain point, you are required to emphasize that point, and if he has not developed a certain point, you are not required to develop it. So it would not depend on your choice that how you emphasize a point of view. You will follow the writer's point of view which has been given to you in the paragraph. So you will strictly follow whatever has been emphasized in the given paragraph. And in the fifth point, you will put the original away and write out the first rough draft of the Précis, that after having the idea, after reading the passage carefully, and having the important headings and subheadings in your mind, you would plan a skeleton for the Précis, and you will write a rough draft of the Précis. Remember that no account should be original and be consulted at the stage. In the actual writing of the Précis, you should entirely depend upon your memory. With the skeleton plan to help you, you should overcome the temptation of looking at the original, for then and then alone the Précis can be written in your own words. Otherwise it will just be the copy paste of whatever given to you in the original passage. So a Précis must always be written in your own words and not in those of the original passage. So it is very much necessary that you must have a clear-cut idea what has been described in the paragraph or the given passage. You will read it many times, then you will make your own words or your own sentences in your mind, and you will start writing. In this way you can write down a good Précis, and it needs practice, because the practice is very much necessary to write down a good Précis piece of writing. And then comes the sixth point, that you will count the words in the original and those in your Précis. Your Précis should in no case exceed 1/3 of the length of the original. So you have to keep one thing in your mind, that your Précis should be 1/3. You can count the words, you can count the sentences. In short, you have to write down the 1/3 of the given passage in a very precise manner. You will give the main idea which has been emphasized in the passage. Your sentences should have a connection, the best connection, and it must give the same idea which has been conveyed in the original idea. Then comes the seventh and last final point, that finally revise the Précis and carefully to make it read as a continuous whole. It should be read smoothly, and it should appear like an original composition. When you think you have done best, you may write your own Précis neatly and carefully. So keep as nearly as possible to the same average of the words to a line, so that it might help you in counting the words of the Précis. And state at the end the exact number of words used by you in the Précis, and you must mention the original words which were present in the original passage. So make a final copy in a neat and clear handwriting, and mind your spellings and punctuation. Remember that most of the candidates get low marks in Précis writing, not because they do it badly, but because they write it in a very bad manner, and they commit mistakes in spellings and punctuation. spell accurately, and punctuate carefully. So it was all about writing a good Précis. So in your grammar books you have so many exercises for doing Précis writing. In the passage given to you, there would be a list or 2 or 3 or 4 questions. In the end, you have to answer those questions in your own words, and you would give a title, and in the end you would produce a Précis. You would write down a good Précis by making your best effort of the ideas given in the original passage or the original comprehension paragraph. So it was all about writing a good Précis. You will follow the rules, and by following the rules you can produce a good Précis. You can answer the questions given at the end, and you can give the best title of the given paragraph. Thank you very much, students. Allah Hafiz. We will meet inshallah in the next session. You will bring your textbooks with you, and we would have a reading of the second prose writing chapter, the last lesson. So we will meet inshallah ta'ala in the next session. For the textbook having a reading, you must have a pre-reading at your home. Read the lesson in your prose book. You will read it at your homes, so you must have an idea what we are going to read. The name of the chapter is the last lesson, and we would discuss this chapter in our next lesson, next lecture. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.